PCAT viewers, good evening. The name is Abu, plain old Abu. Nothing fancy about me, just plain old Abu. And I'm happy that you have allowed me, or are allowing me, to come into your homes today, this evening. This show, the Abu Show, comes on every Saturday, 7 p.m., channel 69. BCAT, Public Access Television. And I am grateful to you that I'm grateful to the Almighty God that I am here to be able to do this show. I'm getting tired. I'm not as young as I used to be. I don't have the energy I used to. I keep doing it because I would like to believe I'm performing a public service on public access TV. But I'm getting a wee bit tired, and this could quite possibly be my last year. Tired. And when you get tired, it's time to rest and go home, wherever home is. And by the way, a good friend of mine who did about 20 or 30 shows with me, Mau Straker, you've seen him, little skinny guy from Barbados. He passed away quite recently. 3 or 4 days ago. And I'm going to miss him. I miss him already. I went to the hospice where he was laying in the bed. And here's a brother who was vibrant, full of life, very articulate, educated, and fairly humble. And he worked for me in the school system. I hired him to be my secretary. He is my friend. I broke bread with him. I traveled with him. He had meetings that he held in Brownsville, that center down there in Brownsville, and I attended his meeting. The last one I attended was Martin Luther King's birthday, and he called me up and left a message on my tape thanking me for gracing his meeting with my presence and bringing a dignified presence to his meeting, and I appreciated that compliment. And he also said to me that, we met quite often, traveled together, ate together, broke bread together. It wasn't all peaches and cream. One of the last shows he did with me, he accused me of being an Uncle Tom, but I'm not holding that against him. I did hold it against him, but then he came back on the show after that, and he said to me, listen here, man, the past is the past. The struggle continues. And he apologized to me. Well, he cursed me out something terrible, but he was probably ill at that time, and his brain wasn't working as it should have been working, so he was venting. He didn't know then, but he was ill, and he was taking out on me the illness that he was experiencing. I forgive him for it. He's a religious man too. Attended the church in Jefferson, very active in this church, prayed quite often, a decent man, a God-fearing man, which is the problem with some of us today. We are not God-fearing enough. But Mawu, my brother, God be with you. It's a road we all have to travel. As Islam says, surely we belong to Allah, and to Him we shall return. He belonged to Jesus, and he returned to Jesus. But this is my book here, to move away from death and the pain of death. This is my book here, The Power of Introspection. My name is A.Q. Abu, and I wrote this book under the guidance and the instruction of the Almighty God Himself. And one of my poems here, before I get to my poem in my book that I wrote, I'd like to read a poem that Leigh Hunt wrote himself. Leigh Hunt Byron, Leigh. I change the names for purposes of this show. Abu, may his tribe increase, awoke one night from a deep dream of peace, and saw within the moonlight in his room, making it rich like a lily in bloom, an angel writing in a book of gold, exceeding peace had made Abu bold. And to the presence in the room he said, what writest thou? The vision raised his head. and with a look made of all sweet accord, answered, the names of those who love the Lord. And is mine one? Asked Abu. Nay, not so, replied the angel. Abu spoke more low, but cheerily still, and said, I pray thee then, write me as one that loves his fellow man. The angel wrote and vanished. The next night it came again with a great wakening light, and showed the names whom love of God had blessed. And lo, and behold, Abu's name led all the rest. That's how I want to be remembered. One who loved the Lord, one who love of God has blessed. To do good to my fellow man, to cause injury to no one. It's tough to love your fellow man as you love yourself. Some of us don't love ourselves. But to know that I have done ill to no one, even though ill has been perpetrated against me on a daily basis, it don't bother me. I love the Lord. The Lord loves me. And I'm grateful to the Lord that He has allowed me to do this show. Because the words I use are not mine. They're His. Capital H-I-S. They're infinite. He created them infinite. Because He is infinite. And this poem I wrote here in my book, The Power of Introspection. And you can call me at 347-633-2821. 347-633-2821. And if I don't respond, and if you leave a message and I still don't respond, the answer is simple. I did not receive the message. You see, my calls are screened and scrutinized, and many of my calls have not reached me, and this has been happening from time immemorial. From time immemorial it's been happening. They screen my calls, they channel my calls in other directions, they harass me, they terrorize me. But I pray to the Almighty God, not for them, as Christians do. I prayed as David, the prophet, did, that God would cause severe pain to them. That God, and the most merciful God, will destroy them. I don't pray for my enemies as Christians do. I don't have that much prayer to waste. I pray that God would punish them severely, because they deserve to be punished. If a man, and I lived all my life, at least the last 15, 20 years of my life, is fairly decent, don't steal, don't drink, don't do drugs, don't sell drugs, and they keep terrorizing me. But I ask you, Almighty God, in your wisdom, you know what they're doing, you know how they are. I ask you, the Almighty God, to punish them. As David the prophet prayed to you to punish them severely. David, God closest to man closest to God's heart, punished them. A black man, his son, Solomon, the wisest man on God's earth, another black man that looked like me and looked like Joseph in there. Candace, the queen of Egypt, another black woman, a queen. King Tut, the king of Egypt, another black king, another black man. Nefertari, the queen of Egypt, another black woman. Saul, the first king of Israel, another black man. Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, another black man. Melchizedek of Salem, no past, no present. He just fell in on the scene and disappeared as quickly as he came. No mother, no father, no lineage, nothing. God created him. Omri of North Israel, another black man. Ganges of Ethiopia, another black king. Cush, C-U-S-H, Cush of Ethiopia, another black king. And what am I saying? I'm saying that we as black people are the descendants of black kings and queens. And it behooves us to behave in a royal manner, which would reflect favorably on our, not only our upbringing, but our past. And you black brothers and sisters out there, it behooves you to do what's right. No drugs. And there are others who will idolize the drug dealers. Idolize the drug dealers. They don't want you to emulate a boo. They want you to emulate and pattern yourself after the drug dealers, because they know sooner or later they're going to bust you. You'll be busted. If you sell drugs, sooner or later you'll be busted. You cannot sell drugs forever. You'll be busted. Busted. I know a guy who sold drugs to an undercover man, and he thought he got away clean. A year later, 6 months later, they scooped him up. You do, then they want you to emulate the drug dealers, because then they know they're going to bust you. Now the boo, the activist, the educated man, and they're educated, they say, oh, so what? So he's educated, so what? He's just an NIGG, you know what, with a master's. He's just an NIGG, you know what, with a double master's. They want to bust you. They don't want you to write books as the boo did. They want you to sell drugs and become famous so they can bust you. And a lot of these rap singers used to sell drugs. I'm not calling any names. They got away. But they're laying for them. They let them get away so others might follow them. They're going to bust you. Now this book here, you can call me at 347-633-2821, or you can write me at P.O. Box 340115, Brooklyn, New York, 11234. That's P.O. Box 340115, Brooklyn, New York, 11234. If I don't return your call, I didn't get the message. That's simple. If I don't return your letter, I did not get the letter. That's simple. My mail has gone astray. My phone calls have gone astray. My phone is tapped. Everywhere I go, there's always a cop waiting to bust me. They can't bust me. I do nothing wrong except pray 5, 6, 7 times a day. If you see that mark on my forehead here, this is evidence of it. Evidence that I pray consistently, not periodically, consistently and religiously and faithfully. Now, among the poems I wrote is one here called The Dreamer. The Dreamer. And most men who dream are usually fairly good men. They have something to say. They're out of the ordinary. They're not in with the ordinary, but they're out of the ordinary. They have something to say. And this dreamer here has something to say. He said, now I would like to roam the fields one day and stop to watch the deer at play, unmindful of predators who would stalk their prey stealthily through the woods, and watch the birds as the young they feed, as they hop from branch to branch with effortless speed, as broken worms become a delicacy, and the young remain immobile, perched in the trees, to smell the autumn flowers as they grew, and watch the old being replaced by the new, and the grass fighting for the brush for its place in the sun, to experience one day, just one day, when all things just never get done, to walk in step to the cricket's tune and pretend the sun has swallowed up the moon. Just one day, with no end in sight, when all things